Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're back with another fantastic reaction video. Chat wanted me to react to another one of Write It Out Aphmau theory videos. It came out very recently. Does Aphmau actually have a sister? And like, does she really? I don't think that's the case, but maybe he can convince me, you know? So let me move my camera up a little bit. Move my camera back up here, and let's see what this is about. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. We've actually reacted to a lot of Write It Out's videos before, so they've always been pretty fun and interesting to hear, like, you know, different points of views and kind of interesting facts he brings up. So let's see what he's got here, man. Without further ado, let's get right into the video.
I've been asked to talk about this a lot, but I always chose not to because I didn't believe in it. But the whole point of making theories is to put the pieces together and form some sort of connection. So I'm going to try and throw everything I know in the trash, and we're going to dive deep into this idea and hopefully start a discussion. Hello Internet, welcome to Aphmau Theory. Today I'm going to talk about a popular theory and hopefully try and make it make sense. And that's the idea of Aphmau having a sister. If you're not familiar with this, then you probably just had some goosebumps because this debate had a lot of drama surrounding it, which is one of the reasons why I stayed away from this, because it kind of got a little messy, which is why we're only going to focus on the facts and not disrespect anyone. We're better than that, come on. The idea of this theory first came out because back in Season 5 and Season 6 of My Streets, we were finally given information on Aphmau's dad and what kind of man he was, and he wasn't great. We already kind of had an idea thanks to Savannah always badmouthing him. Yeah, you tell him, girl. But we would later find out that the whole events of When Angels Fall were technically his fault. He had a hand to play in all of this, and regardless if he realized it was all wrong towards the end, he still manipulated and conspired against the whole world on its downfall, along with the distribution of selling forever potions to bad people and doing experiments on actual children. But worst of all, he would cheat on his hot Latino wife. Who would do?
Again, it should have been me, not him. It's not fair. Okay? Hot Latino wife? Bro. Never looked a gift. That was like, that's just turned down the ultimate gift, man.
Such a thing. Zach was first properly introduced in the finale of Season 4, The Emerald Secret. He meets up with Gartay, Derek, and Michael at the lodge. He establishes that he has already gone through with the divorce process, and apparently he is still seeing Aphmau. Not for long though, because in Season 5 Starlight, episode 33, Derek reveals that he and Gartay got into a fight with Michael, Zach, and a woman by the name of Elizabeth. Michael opened a portal to another realm, but Derek and Gartay were able to turn the tables, and Zach would be lost in another time.
Now remind me again, why did they do that? Did they have an idea that Michael wasn't actually trying to save the world? Because he clearly wasn't.
We're not sure for how long he was gone for, but in Phoenix Drop High, specifically episode 2 of A Wolf's Tale, Sylvana is seen arguing with Zach over the phone, saying that he's not allowed to see her because he just up and disappeared. But why? We're hearing everything from a different perspective, so let's go back in time and see what that conversation was like before. But real quick, you should probably subscribe first. Before When Angels Fall had its first episode, we got a couple of short teasers to help us fill in the gaps.
Why, James? What do you mean why? What do you mean why? Are you talking about the Latina wife comment? Bro, stop. Stop playing. You know I'm telling the truth.
For the next season, and also give us some extra context that was heavily needed. The first teaser we got focused heavily on Ian, showing him before, during, and after the events of My Street Season 4, The Emerald Secret, with him getting instructions from the demon warlock, stealing his book of knowledge, and then being saved at the end because he's considered still useful. The second teaser instead gives us something different. We knew this mysterious man would be our next villain, and now we know that not only is Ian working for him, but he is going to also be a villain for our main cast. Ian is now more important than ever before, so please keep that in mind. But teaser 2 focused on Zach and the fallout he had with his family. At first glance, this is very strange. Again, right? I mean, I'm glad we got this context, but how is this supposed to help? I mean, what clues are even here? It's especially weird because Zach isn't painted as a villain or evil like Michael or Ian was. It's a complete total.
What do you mean? I mean, at this point, he wasn't painted as a villain. He was just a deadbeat dad, a bad father and husband. Like, that's pretty evil to me.
Shift. And then obviously teaser 3 would take place moments before the first episode of When Angels Fall. All of these don't seem to connect, but they're all still very important. So let's take a deeper look. The teaser opens in with Aphmau being probably the age of like 5 or below, maybe. She is woken up by her parents arguing in the living room.
I mean, I can't tell because she's the same height now that she is in this video. So.
See Zach throwing a phone out the window, and Sylvana claims that she knows about the cheating.
I would throw it out too. Look at that thing. what is that, an iPhone 4? What the hell is that?
To point out the specific wording here. I know about your lies. You can't hide this other woman, this other child.
Yikes.
I know about your lies, Zach!
Straight up telenovela energy, guys. Like, I did not expect this from my blocky content, to be honest. I told you guys this before. I think I mentioned this several times. And by the way, just for the context, guys, this is like the second time we've recorded this because the computer exploded or something. But like, since I wasn't in my street really at all, I wasn't really following up with the lore or the story. So I didn't know it got this serious, to be honest. I thought it was just happy-go-lucky, fun Saturday morning cartoon style block animation. You know what I mean? Hashtag just blocks. Nah, it was a little bit more than that, wasn't it?
And hide this other woman, this other child!
They don't talk more about it, and Zach doesn't try to light through this or anything. He just accepts this and grabs his stuff and leaves. Okay, mystery solved then, right? Why would Zach let this slide? Wouldn't he try and deny this? If this was a misunderstanding, then he should try and fight back and explain himself. Granted, he can't fight because Savannah is already tired of how he's been treating her. Maybe he just thought it would be best to walk away now since, well, he's only caused her trouble. Right before Zach leaves, he holds out the forever potion, thinking back to Michael. Even though this is what he's been working towards, he can't bring himself to do it. He does not give Aphmau the forever potion. This shows what kind of character he is. He's not supposed to be this monster. There's more layers to him. Even though
I still think Michael took advantage of that part of him too, right? You know what I mean? Like, he is not redeemable in my personal opinion by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said before, there's plenty of characters that are irredeemable, but you understand why they thought they had to act a certain way they do. You know what I mean? A lot of characters are villains or antagonistic, and they, you know, commit horrible things, but they believe they're doing it for a good cause, or they believe they have a good reason to do it, so they justify it. You know, that's fair, but it's, you know, still I still don't like the character, bro.
All we've heard is that he's a huge jerk. There's more to him, more that we don't understand. And this will come back later, so please keep this in mind. Fast forward in the timeline, in episode 34 of season 5 Starlight, Aphmau has turned into a werewolf and Savannah comes clean. She finally tells Aphmau about her father. Zach is a werewolf. Wow, such a big deal, I know. I'm kidding. This is important, I promise. Aphmau specifically says that she felt a calling. Keep that in mind for later too. It's here that Savannah opens up and admits that before Aphmau was even born, Zach had cheated. And Savannah didn't know or believe it till a woman called her about it and showed her proof. We're not sure of what proof she saw or what woman contacted her. The only woman we know that was close to Zach was Elizabeth. But from what we know of her, she wouldn't bother doing something like this.
And Elizabeth is probably Caitlin's mom, right, guys?
She only cared about the plan and everything else that came after. Our first real showcase of her character is episode 19 of Starlight. Elizabeth is so giddy knowing how perfect everything is lining up to be. Everyone is together where the celestial cannon is located. Dude, it's like fate.
You know, one thing I just realized that a lot of people don't talk about is like, or talk about like wanting to see. We should see a lot more Zach and Elizabeth in the next season of My Street. Like, I think we would have to, right, to really understand what the context of what they were doing. I kind of want to see more Elizabeth, dude.
She also states that she owes everything to Michael and she trusts him. She admits she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. When she finally meets Zach face to face, she calls him darling. I don't think it was meant to be in any sort of romantic sense. I think it's just them talking and being playful because they're partners. Maybe, which sounds more likely, she would do this because she wanted Zach to only focus on the mission and not his family. I think that would make a little bit of sense. It is also here that we have our first mention of the kid. Zach is asking where is the kid, which Elizabeth replies that he's being restrained in a warehouse. For some reason, whenever the kid, aka Ian, is mentioned, it's always in this way. It's a mystery, it's vague. We obviously know that it's Ian now, thanks to the teaser trailers that came out way after. But no, yeah, let's continue anyways. In season 6, episode 10, Zach is furious that Michael allowed Ian to kill Aphmau. Michael then responds with, "What does it matter? You were so willing to put Ian in harm's way. I just assumed you felt the same way about your own daughter." Zach refuses this notion.
Yeah, I think I see where this is going. Okay.
Claiming it's different, but Michael lets it out. What allows you to value the life of one of your children over the other? Either they both matter or they don't. You made your choice with Ian. Zach snaps back, claiming that Ian was a monster. Here's the full clip in case you want to listen.
You were so willing to put
He's so manipulative, dude. Michael is so manipulative, dude.
You felt the same way about your daughter.
That's not the same.
What allows you to value the life of one of your children?
I hate him
over
so
the other?
much, dude.
Either they both matter or they don't.
I love his voice. I hate Michael, dude. I hate him so much.
You made your choice with Ian, and I just balanced it out.
That kid was a monster.
It's so weird watching this. They've been saying the kid this whole time, and finally we have the context. Zach is a werewolf. Michael is talking about the life of Zach's children and going as far as telling Zach that he was never able to sense how useful his offspring were. That he had such a longing for greatness.
You were never able to sense how useful your offspring were. He had such a longing for greatness, and he valued his heritage above everything. He needed a leader.
You and I both know that he was born that way.
I mean, what else is there to talk about, right? However, that's not the case. From what we know of Zach, this isn't exactly in his character, right? Especially with Zach's change of heart that happens later in the show. Zach is an awful person, yes. It's constantly pointed out by Michael, Sylvana, Elizabeth, and Derek, but whenever he had the chance to do something truly evil, he didn't take it. He never stepped past that line. It's just like Derek told him, he's a pawn, and Zach doesn't deny that. Then what's going on? Is there a sibling or not? Well, surprisingly, we actually do have the answer. The answer was stated in a live stream, a YouTube comment, and a video 8 years later, that this whole thing was a red herring.
Okay.
4 years ago, in an Aphmau SMP video featuring Zach, Aphmau leaves a comment that says, Zach isn't Ian's dad. That was a red herring from MS that we didn't have time to resolve. And
okay. Well, perhaps that does get resolved in the future.
And about a year ago, the cast were doing a rewatch of My Street, and Michaela Laws, the voice actress of Sylvana, tells everyone that Ian is not related to Aphmau. Zach just didn't care enough to explain and just left. Michaela Laws also says that Zach actually didn't cheat on Sylvana.
During Emerald's secret development,
Oh, I totally forgot that she said that. Let's hear this.
we were actually told to record certain scenes, and one of them was Zach and Sylvana screaming at each other before Zach decides to finally leave. And Jess and I were talking about like what happened. It wasn't that Zach cheated. He didn't cheat. It was the insinuation that he didn't give a shit about Sylvana enough to explain what was happening. Jess and I talked about this. Ian's not his child. We've always established this, even in the recent goings of the role plays. He helped take care of Ian because he just didn't give a shit about Sylvana. Sylvana doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and Zach's not telling her.
But here's the thing. Sylvana stated in Starlight that a woman showed her proof.
Your father and I, we never married. We were going to, but then, before you were born, I discovered
If that's the
that
case, then the woman that sent that message, I'm guessing here, whoever sent that message, whether it's Elizabeth or someone else, was just screwing with them. Screwing with her. And combined with her previous, like, doubts about Zach, this kind of just took it over the edge, right?
He had cheated.
Especially
on me.
when
he had
he
a
didn't
child
explain
from
anything.
another woman, and I didn't know about it until she called me and showed me proof.
Who was this? This should be an open and shut case, right? And what is this about Aphmau saying that she felt a calling? She had a calling and wanted to be turned into a werewolf. What if I said there was still more to the story? And the reason for that is because of a certain video that came out on the Aphmau Diaries channel.
All right, you know what? I'm leaving this one in. Is Ian Aphmau's brother? I'm not gonna say anything, but this.
Hey. If anyone wants to learn how to, if anyone ever wants to learn how to do an impression of Aaron's voice, I think the sound clip you should grab, just random thought, to help you like get into that mode is probably just the just like that line right there, because it's so funny. He does it a lot. If you guys notice, he does it a lot in these funny episodes.
This would imply that.
It's so weird that Mr. Jason didn't answer that question. Why did he leave it vague? I honestly can't fathom why he would just choose not to say anything, especially with all the drama that came from it.
The only thing I could think of is why they will leave it wide open is because potentially you want to resolve it in the future and you don't want to spill the beans yet. Maybe that's something they want to maybe that's a loose end they want to tie up properly in the future. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. But because if you make it final here, then it kind of makes it hard for you to to do something with that in the future in a storyline, or it's going to be considered like a weird retcon. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the reason.
Obviously says that this would imply that, meaning that Ian is not, so why not just say it?
I'm only assuming from like a writing
because
standpoint.
of what he says next. Quote, but the story isn't over. And you might even say that we don't have the full picture yet.
There's a reason right there.
But
See?
the story isn't over. And you might even say we don't have the full picture yet.
The fact that he is still keeping this open, to some extent, tells us everything we need to know. There truly might be another, but not in the way that we think. Even though Michaela Law stated that Zach didn't actually cheat, there's gotta be more to the story. After all, Sylvana mentioned that a woman showed her proof and confronted her about it. And Mike—
well, obviously that proof is a lie, right? Or a manipulation of other information, right? I think the purpose of whatever that call was just to get Zach out of there. Like, separate Zach from the fam. You know what I mean? I mean, he was doing a great job of that already, but this was just a nail in the coffin.
Michael did say some very strange things when he was talking about Zach's children, so let's start putting the pieces together. But first, I think we should see the definition of what a red herring is supposed to be. Oh wow, would you look at that? A red herring means a clue or a piece of information that is or is intended to be misleading or distracting. Now, I was ready to come in here and say that this Ian twist was always meant to be misleading and nothing more. It was just meant to be shock factor and a trick. But wait, when you think about it, that doesn't make any sense. Why bother tricking us, especially if it wasn't meant to go anywhere? You don't leave the sword on the table if you never intend for your character to use it. This red herring was meant to divert our attention elsewhere and give us a fake answer. And if what Mr. Jason says is true, then that means that we all have overlooked certain details. Let's go back to that conversation Zach had with Michael. An important detail to this conversation is how Michael talks about Zach's children. Michael refers to Ian by his name, but calls Aphmau Zach's daughter.
You were so willing to put Ian in harm's way. I just assumed you felt the same way about your daughter.
I think it's also important to note that Michael doesn't know about Aphmau being one of Irene's broken pieces, not yet at least. So when he talks about Zach's offspring being useful, it's strange and can be interpreted in a different way. He could just be egging Zach on. After all, he does point out how Zach doesn't care about the life of his children, that he values the life of one child over the other. Either they—
why does, remind me again guys, why does Michael, if he doesn't know about the Irene connection at this point in the story, why does he value Aphmau again?
They both matter or they don't. Then Michael says that Zach made the choice with Ian.
I mean,
what
he didn't because he let her die.
The life of one of your children over the other. Either they both matter or they don't. You made your choice with Ian.
He's the wrong
These
person
have to be two different contexts. Talking about two other kids and then bringing in Ian as part of the argument because nobody cared for him. Granted, Michael does say right after this that he balanced it out. Obviously meaning one dies, the other had to die. Aphmau is dead, so Ian is dead.
Either they both matter or they don't. You made your choice with Ian, and I just balanced it out.
But I'm trying to form a connection right now, so we're gonna ignore that. Because we have to remember, we don't have the full picture yet. This context is different, yes, but maybe the idea is important. The idea of valuing a life of one child over the other. Michael also says, quote, you were never able to sense how useful your offspring were, end quote. Ian isn't related in any way, so why would he say so outright? That's really strange. See what I mean about the idea of being important? We obviously could just say that Michael didn't know, or maybe he's playing more mind games, but I don't think that's likely. Michael knew a lot of things, so it'd be weird to say that he just didn't know. He knew everything, especially when it came to the mission. Like when Derek gave himself up, Michael knew immediately that the ultimate curse had passed on to Aaron, so he isn't dumb. Granted, he didn't know that Aphmau was a part of Irene's soul, but I don't think that was relevant to the mission. Ian, however, was very involved and very important every step of the way, so he had to know that he wasn't related to Zach. Our next big question that we have is obviously, if Zach didn't cheat, wouldn't Sylvana know about the child to begin with?
I mean, it's pretty much established that Zach didn't tell her anything. So if you're if you're supposed to be married to someone you love and they just keeping secrets from you, I mean, if you were playing a game of Family Feud and Steve Harvey gave you that scenario, survey says probably one of the top things on the list would probably be you thinking he cheating on you, right? You would just think that. I mean, that just makes sense.
Want to make weird guesses and say that their first child was a miscarriage or got lost in a Walmart or Zach had a child before Sylvana, because I feel like that's something that would have been mentioned by now if that was the case. Going in that direction is also just a bit fanfiction-y, so I'd rather not say stuff like that unless we have proper evidence. There's really not that much more information here, but let's try and move on and find more connections. A major one being that they look similar, down to the very clothes that they wear. This clearly shows that these two characters are intertwined in more ways than we think, and as it was mentioned before, Aphmau felt a calling. We could all assume that it was—
I can see how he doesn't believe in this theory, dude. Like, we pretty much believe that's Alina. Right? MCD Aphmau's daughter. Right? Okay.
It's just Irene trying to warn Aphmau in some way, shape, or form, but why would that involve Aphmau being a werewolf? Unless it was connected to our mysterious wolf girl, who is shown to be wearing a wolf mask. There's also an Aphmau SMP video where Aphmau dons those darker clothes, further cementing that they are connected in some way.
Wow. Random Easter egg before the thing comes out. That's crazy.
Speaking of that, one thing we were all confused about was how this mysterious wolf girl would save the world, if that is what's being shown here. The way that she's facing the comet head on. Well, if this mysterious wolf girl is a sibling in some way, then that perfectly explains it all. They are both pieces of Irene's broken soul, which I want to talk about real quick. I intend to make a whole video about this later, so expect that real soon, but MCD Aphmau takes on the role of Irene, and now she looks after all of her friends who reincarnated. MCD Aphmau is obviously a piece of Irene's original soul, so where are the other two? Well, she might just be looking after them since they ended up in the same realm. That explains why she's only looking after the Maestri universe, because Aphmau and her sister both have inherited the piece of Irene. I really like this idea, but obviously it has a lot of holes. We know that Aphmau Irene is only looking after this world because of Eren and her friends, but if we squint real hard, this does give more of a reason on why she would be its protector, if you even want to call her the protector of the Maestri universe. I mean, she let Aphmau die so easily, but chose to try and protect Eren? Kind of a jerk.
She definitely has limited ability, right? For whatever reason, limited ability to really protect. Like, actually, in a lot of anime, now that I think about it, in a world in anime where there are fantasy worlds where gods exist, right? Especially the benevolent ones, they often have limitations according to the rules of wherever they come from in terms of how they can interact with the mortal world. And one of the few loopholes is by giving humans abilities, or by indirectly, in certain situations, being able to do something, right? And if they don't do that, they're either severely weakened in that application, or their punishment is they lose their powers. So, I mean, maybe something like that happened. I don't know. Like, it's very, I don't know. I'm just thinking out the top of my head here, guys. There's no proof that any of this is real.
She didn't even know that Alina would come back to revive her, so she was just like, nah, she could die. So what else is there? Well, here's an idea that I've been thinking about a lot. We know that there might be some time shenanigans, right?
Yeah,
we've already seen one character before using this power, so who's to say another might be able to, especially in a world of forever potions and demon warlocks. I might even suggest that our mysterious wolf girl might have tampered with time and made it so that she was forgotten about. It's a really crazy idea, but as it's been mentioned before, we don't have the full picture, so really anything's game. We kind of just have to use everything to try to—
Was there an instance? Remind me, was there an instance in the Avverse where people just all genuinely forgot about the existence of a person, even though they clearly existed, but they didn't know who that person was? It's like every memory of them was erased from them in the world. Was there an instance of that?
Fill in the gaps in some way. Because, yeah, here's the sad part about this theory, it just doesn't make sense. And that really sucks, because it's interesting and there are bits and pieces that could fit, but we don't have enough evidence or connections. I was able to connect a few puzzle pieces, but not enough. It's especially weird how this will be the first time that we see Aphmau have a sibling. As far as we're aware, every realm has these canon events. Yes, I'm using that term, I know. For example, Eren and Aphmau dating or have dated or simply feeling something for each other. Specifically Aphmau. So no Avas, Nashmiras, or whatever the heck Dreams of Astora was. Zane being evil or just a menace to society. Caitlyn and Lawrence and everyone being friends with Aphmau. Eren being a cursed soul to some extent. These are our canon events, and we don't stray from these ideas. And of course, one of those ideas is Aphmau being an only child. I'm not saying that Maestri can't break those norms, especially since we do know of an Aphmau who never had an Eren. Void Paradox. So it is possible for things to change, but we just haven't seen it yet. I'm really interested to see how you all feel about this idea. And if you have any information—
Maybe I'm wrong about this. Let me check something real quick. Where is it? Where is it? He mentions Void Paradox briefly. Wasn't there a character in Void Paradox who was wearing a very similar outfit to what we just saw Aaron in that clip just now? Maybe it's not the same. Maybe it's not the same. I can't find it right now. I'm starting, yeah.
You all feel about this idea. And if you have any information, then please tell me. Yeah. I'd love to make a part 2 on this and try and figure this out.
Because when I first saw that guy in Void Paradox, I thought maybe he was like a version of Aaron. But I guess I was wrong about that. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, guys. The guy with the axe that ended up helping Aphmau and everyone else escape through the portal at the end of Void Paradox. I thought he was like a version of Aaron, or like, but you know, obviously I don't think he is. He doesn't even sound the same. I don't know. But and then I think one of the video clips we just saw earlier, Aaron was in a similar outfit, and I don't know if it was exactly the same, but it looked close enough to me.
That's what being a theorist is all about. I know some ideas might sound dumb or lack evidence, but we should be open to ideas and try to solve things together, because you truly never know what might be possible. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.
Wow, that man, looking like
truly
Cyclops
never know
there.
what might be possible. Alright, thanks for watching.
Man, looking like Cyclops over there, man. To me, my X-Men.
I'll see you all next time.
Alright, well, that's an interesting video. I'm gonna say that theory is kind of whack, to be honest. In terms of not write it out, it's an explanation of trying to figure it out. I don't think there's another sibling, to be honest. I think the Alina one has more validity. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna go. But I do believe that Void Paradox will have a function. The events of Void Paradox, and then I do expect to see more Elizabeth-Zack interactions in the new season, and somehow, or at least some mention of them. You know what I mean? That would make sense to me. So well, I guess we'll find out, man. It's a lot. It's honestly, it's a lot. I'm kind of just spitballing when I say these comments. I don't really have any idea. But maybe there's something I said that piqued your interest that you want to point out in the comments below. That would help me out a lot too, to be honest. Because I remember, you know what, we've been trying to like watch all these shows just to get ready for the new season of My Street, and it's a lot, right? It's a lot. So I'm not gonna be able to like fully like immediately get everything together, and you guys clearly do a lot better than me, especially you write it out. So, all right, if I said anything that piqued your interest, that you want to elaborate on, or you wanted to make some, maybe I said something that was incorrect, you want to just let me know. Let me know in the comments. We really appreciate it. Well, that's it for now. Take care of yourself, get plenty of rest, and as always, stay jamming.